Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We've got a good group of individuals on already. So happy Friday, happy first Friday in May. Thank you for joining me today for the first self-care series that we have for this month. Let me get my presentation pulled up. All right, so you all should be able to see my PowerPoint. Thank you for joining us. I'm Hope Kleine. I am a health education field specialist with SDSU Extension, and I'm excited to have you join me for this first May virtual self-care session. So for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be hosting different sessions that all have a different focus on self-care. We hope that this time can help you take care of your own mental, emotional, and physical health. It's really easy for us to forget about your own self-care, especially when you're working, you're maybe having to run around kids or go to see grandkids. But it's a really important part of health, and we should do our best to not overlook it. So, with spring finally upon us, we thought it would be appropriate to open up the May self care series, highlighting fun ways that we can be active outdoors. But before we get started, I'm asking you all to share in the chat box. There's a few different points throughout today where I ask you to share something in the chat box if you're comfortable. So if you would just put in the chat box where you're located, how you heard about the self-care series, maybe you're a past participant, and then what your favorite activity is to do outside. And I'm going to open up my chat box so I can see your responses. Not seeing any yet. Oh, there we go. So cycling outside, simply going on walks, runs, or hiking. That's always a really good one. Asha loves hiking. She put some big emphasis on that. Gardening, yes. Walking and riding bike. Good. We've got a good theme here. I need to make an adjustment on my screen. Give me just a second, everybody. I've got to stop my share really quick. My favorite thing to do outside, it really just varies upon what season we're in, which I'm sure is the same for all of you, as we are all residing in South Dakota. But I love in the summer or spring, I love to garden, get my garden going, and I love to kayak. That's one of my favorite things. And my kids are finally getting old enough that they enjoy it too, and they don't just scream at the top of their lungs. All right, thank you for sharing. So likely you already know some of the benefits about being active, such as lowered blood pressure or cholesterol levels. And you may already know some of the benefits of being outside, such as an increased uptake in vitamin D. But what about combining the two, both being active and being outdoors at the same time? Spending time outside does have some health benefits. And what we're really going to be focusing on today is the greening of your exercise routine. So, green exercise. Spring and summer is really a time when the outdoors beckon many people to be outside, especially here in South Dakota, where we are often hiding in our houses during the winter months. So when the summer starts to get nice, we start to venture outdoors. We maybe have picnics and barbecues. Maybe you go paddle boarding or fishing, or it's a little early for this yet, but even go outside and going swimming here soon. Some hike or get out on their bikes like you all shared. But these good times in outdoors are really an exception to the rule, which is that most of us spend the majority of our time indoors. So the average American actually spends 90% of their time indoors. And as we age, we become even more inclined to not venture outdoors. So why is it that you should want to make your physical activity routine green? Um, what exactly does that mean? So while we often refer to green exercise, I'm adjusting the term to be green physical activity just for the purpose of this presentation, because I know some people hear the word exercise and they either shut down or they just have this negative feeling inside their chest. So I'm really using green physical activity for today's presentation. Green physical activity refers to bringing your physical activity routine outdoors. So together, we're first going to start with just talking about the benefits of being outdoors. So first, I'm going to start with sharing 11 benefits of being active outdoors. So really tying in that physical activity piece and the outdoor piece. So perhaps, it's Friday morning, the end of a long week, and maybe you're craving another cup of coffee. And instead of grabbing that additional cup, which I know I always tend to do because I love my coffee, maybe you need to take a quick 5-minute refresher walk. So just getting outside for a quick 5 minutes. It's really, really nice out this morning. So if you want to hop off and rejoin by phone and go for a little walk during the rest of this presentation, I highly encourage you to do that. I think that's great. You're able to hop onto Zoom, go out for a little walk, take up some of that vitamin D and just get some blood flowing. And one study has suggested that spending 20 minutes in the open air gives your brain an energy boost comparable to 1 cup of coffee. So what a healthy way to just really help uptick your energy level when you're hitting a slump. Another benefit is that it feels easier to exercise outdoors. And why exactly is that? It's because there's more stimulation to you when you're outdoors. You're moving your body, you have your blood pumping, there's a lot of different things to look at. You have more of your senses that are increased. You're smelling different things, hearing different things, and even feeling different things. So that can make it seem like your exercise is easier, and it can also make it feel like it's going by quicker. And the third tip I have on this slide is that those who spend more time outdoors are less likely to develop nearsightedness, which is a problem a lot of individuals have when they're so used to sitting in front of a computer screen for a lot of their day. 3 more of those benefits. So number 4 at the top, natural light helps mitigate pain. There was a research study that was done on surgery patients who were exposed to high intensity sunlight, and those individuals reported less stress and they actually used less pain medicine. So that's really great to hear. The 5th tip is that when you're outdoors, you breathe in phytoncides. I had to look up how to pronounce that word because I was not sure. What phytoncides are is they're airborne chemicals that are produced by plants. And by breathing in these phytoncides, your levels of white blood cells increase, which actually help us fight off infections and diseases, which can boost your immune system. So that was a really great benefit that I did not know before I had done my research for today's presentation. The 6th tip is if you have an interest in aromatherapy, I personally know a lot of people that have their diffusers. Natural scents like roses, freshly cut grass, and pine can make you feel calmer and more relaxed. And actually, last weekend in my neighborhood, I had 3 of my neighbors on Saturday that were all out mowing their lawn. And it was a wonderful smell to just be able to step outside, take that deep breath in of freshly cut grass. We even opened up our windows a little bit. So that was a nice little aromatherapy. The 7th tip I have, perhaps you're struggling with writer's block, or you might want to ditch your laptop for the great outdoors. So psychologists found that backpackers scored 50% higher on creativity tests after spending a few days outdoors without their electronics. So I'm not telling you to, take a couple days off work or take a couple days and remove yourself from your daily responsibilities, but that's really just showcasing that separating yourself from technology and just getting outdoors for any amount of time can really boost your creativity. The 8th tip we have is that the outdoors help with seasonal affective disorder, which is a reoccurring condition that's marked by symptoms of anxiety, exhaustion, and sadness. So spending time outside can lessen seasonal affective disorder severity, even if the weather is cold or overcast. So even in days like tomorrow where it's going to be chillier and rainy, at least where I'm at, if you're able to go outside for a quick 5-minute walk when there's a break in the rain, that can really help your own mood. So the 9th tip, being outdoors gives you your daily dose of vitamin D. I'm guessing this is something that a lot of you had already been knowledgeable about. But if you weren't sure exactly what vitamin D is, I just wanted to provide a little bit of education on that. So vitamin D is an essential for a well-functioning body. It helps us absorb calcium and it helps prevent osteoporosis or the thinning of bones. And it reduces inflammation, among other things. Although vitamin D is present in some foods like salmon and fortified milk, we get more than 90%, so 90% of our vitamin D from casual exposure to sunlight. Getting close to the end on our 11 tips. So the 10th tip, I really touched on how being outdoors can help your energy levels, but it can also restore your focus. So if you're working on a big project or struggling to focus on a task that you have at hand, you might want to take a break from technology to reboot your brain and restore your focus. And then 11, really wrapping it up with, it can make you be a better person. All of these items that we touched on really result in this last benefit. If you are struggling with focus, being able to go on a walk, restore your focus, you're just going to be a happier person, better to be around for so many different reasons that we talked about. So now I have a time that I want you all to share. So if you can put in the chat box, we really talked about the benefits of being outdoors, being active outdoors. And now I'm going to discuss creative ways that we can accomplish this. So aside from just going out for a quick 5-minute walk, what are other ways that we can be physically active outdoors? And we all probably have our own general ideas, parking further away when you're going to the grocery store so you have a few extra minutes outside, or walking to the grocery store perhaps instead of driving if you're able to in your community. But what are some other ideas you have on how you can be active outdoors? And I'm just going to pause here and wait and see some ideas that trickle in. So camping, yes, that is a good one. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be camping again this summer. Boating, yes, that's one I had not thought about. Kayaking, good, thank you. If you read books, go sit outside in front of your house. Yeah, that's great. Good idea. Fishing, hiking trails, gardening, paddle boarding. Great. You all have wonderful ideas. You either filled up your cup of coffee right before hopping on, or you did a little bit of movement to help refuel your brain to provide some good ideas. Coffee, yes. Go sit outside, drink your coffee outside. How about that? All right, so I just wanted to share some maybe unique ideas that perhaps you hadn't thought of before. So naturally, everybody shared and a few people said that they love to go out and go hiking. So naturally, there are trails that are around South Dakota that you can go walk at. I just kind of listed a couple in my own notes of like Farm Island by Pier has a really nice walking trail, M Hill in Rapid City, or here in Brookings where I'm currently at, we have the Dakota Nature Park on the south side of Brookings. So there's trails or just different walking paths that are all over that you can definitely utilize for free or maybe no low cost if you're getting a park pass. But where else can we be active outdoors? While it's great to go out and go walk and be stimulated by nature, that can get old. So you got to keep switching up your routine. So a few different creative ideas that I wanted to share with you today. The first one is being active at home. So people shared gardening outside. That's great. Just doing some general yard maintenance, really great. My family and I planted a tree outside last night. That's so much more physical activity than you think it's going to be, especially when your soil is full of clay. It makes it really hard to dig a hole for a tree. But some creative ways you can really be physically active outdoors is pulling up a no equipment needed workout video. There are so many of these that you can find. There's a lot of different free physical activity apps that you can use that have really been good about providing opportunities that have like no equipment or just being able to have a little bit of space so you don't have to be at a gym to do it. And I was looking forward to sharing this story because I haven't seen them yet this year, but last spring, summer, and fall, I'll wake up often early in the morning and take my dog for a walk. And last summer, I would see these two women on my walk where they would always, like every day, I feel like I never missed, or they never missed coming out for a workout. I always saw them, but they were actually set up in one of their driveways and they would have their music. They had like a Bluetooth speaker, and then they had, I don't know if it was like a laptop or an iPad. I wasn't close enough to be able to see, but they'd pull up a workout video and they would do their workout in their driveway in the mornings, which I thought was really cool, that they were just, confident enough to just be able to go outside and be active together. So that's a really fun idea. You could go in your driveway and do something, or if you have a deck in your backyard, or you could even just lay down a yoga mat somewhere in the grass if you have the space to be able to do that. So again, you could get a Bluetooth speaker. They're pretty inexpensive, so you could enjoy some music or pull up music on your phone. And then that also can save you money from having to get a gym membership or gas from driving to and from the gym. All right, my second idea is a park. You may or may not have heard about this. I know that there's been some posts on social media about, people being active at parks. So not talking about like a nature park or anything like that, but a playground. I'm going to call you all out again to share in the chat box. Looking at these images, which I know there's a lot and it's kind of hard to comprehend all of the different types of equipment, but what are ways that you could go to any of these locations and get a little bit of a workout in? Chasing kids. Yeah, that's definitely true. Chasing your kids around the park. All right, thanks, Heidi. Doing bench dips. Asha agrees with chasing her kids. I'll just wait a few more seconds to see if anyone else has any ideas. Doing lunges at the park. Yep. I think it's time for you all to go take a 5-minute walk. Boost your creativity. Use the equipments as props with exercise. Yes, so that's really where, circuit training on the playground equipment. Yes. All right, you guys are starting to get on the same mind track that I'm on. So I couldn't, yeah, there was a lot of different park images. I couldn't select, all of them to be able to show you because we'd be here for quite a while, but to just kind of summarize some of the things that you could do at the park. So seeing in this bottom right image, there's a row of benches. So just some ideas of what you could do on the bench. So doing tricep dips on the bench, doing an elevated push-up. And you could either use the seat for your push-up if you wanted to go down a little bit further, or if your fitness level isn't quite at that standard, you could be on the backrest and do a higher elevated push-up. You could also do the same for planks. You could do box steps. Of course, that's going to depend on the safety of the bench. This one's kind of curved, so you maybe don't want to do a box step. That's simply just stepping up on the bench and then stepping down. So getting a good strengthening workout in your legs. You could do calf raises. So you just have the bench to support for balance. You could do deadlifts. You could either do a single leg deadlift or a double leg deadlift. Doing squats, or simply just stretching, which there's so many benefits of stretching that we have covered in other self-care sessions. So I'm not going to jump into that. But really just utilizing the equipment, being creative with how you can move with this equipment. There's swings on the playground set. So something you could do with the swings. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the TRX exercise equipment, but that's where I got this idea. But doing a plank from the swing. So you could do like an elbow plank, putting your elbows in the swing and going into that plank position. And that's going to really target your abdominal muscles in a more intense way than a plank on the ground, because you're also having to focus on balancing with that moving swing. You could do push-ups on the swing as well if you were comfortable with your balance there. The bridge, the picture of the kids on the bridge, I think that's a really, really, really good balance exercise. So in this image, there's luckily that pole there, but just practicing standing on one foot and seeing how your balance can work out, or standing on one foot and moving your other leg out in the half moon stance. So doing different balancing exercises. It's always amazing to me how little balance I have because I don't practice it very often. So I think that's something that everyone should dive into a little bit, just practice their own balance. And then of course there's the stairs in the top left image where you can just practice doing, some steps ups, doing 3 steps up, 3 steps down, 3 steps up, 3 steps down. So these were just some different ideas that I had thought of when I had looked at these images. I'm sure there's plenty more of different exercise ideas that you could do if we put on our creative caps and really thought about it. But I really just like this idea. I know when I take my kids to the park, of course, you're playing with them, you're chasing them around, but are you able to get in, a couple push-ups or a plank hold? I know I've done it when there's not other families at the park with me and my kids. And my daughter's always like, "What are you doing?" But then I challenge her to try it with me, and she always laughs and thinks it's kind of fun. So whether you're going to the park with your kids or your grandkids, or maybe there's a park on your walking path that you're already doing, if you're walking early in the morning or in the evening and you're comfortable, just kind of exploring this, even spending just a couple of minutes at the park and building in some strength training or balance or stretching into your routine, that's going to be really refreshing in itself because it's going to take you out of the same physical activity routine that you've been practicing. All right. And then looking at what outdoor activities are offered in your community is another great way. I know where I'm located, and I'm sure it's more than just here in Brookings, but the farmers market has morning yoga. So, and your kids can join too. And there's always a pretty good sized yoga class that I have seen. So I think that's a really great opportunity. There's also been rooftop yoga. I know of at a few different places. There's been group nature walks that, there'll be like an educational guide with you to help point out different things in nature. And then I recently was talking to an individual from Rapid City, and there's different hiking groups. I'm sure they're maybe everywhere. I just hadn't heard of them. So maybe looking up a local hiking group that you can go walking with. And if you know of any other outdoor physical activity groups in your area, if you're comfortable sharing them in the chat box, perhaps there's somebody else that resides around you or knows a friend that lives around you that would like to share that opportunity. All right. And then this is another idea I have. And I actually saw somebody in the chat box had put in scavenger hunt. So I really liked seeing that because that was something that I had built in this presentation. But if you have kids or grandkids and you just find it hard to fit physical activity into your routine, there's a lot of different things you can do with your kids. So, there's hopscotch. Who hasn't chalk drawn out a hopscotch board? Well, you can participate in that too. That doesn't just have to be something that you do for your kids and you watch them have fun with it. There's also a number of different nature scavenger hunts. So this is something that I've done with my kids and all of the cousins that went on a camping trip. We told them these are the things that you need to go out and find in nature, of course, staying close to our camping site, but then going out and finding them. And I know this is something that my daughter's school did during COVID too. They did a nature scavenger hunt as one of the homework. So we went out and tried to find all of these different things in nature. A simple Google search, or if you go on Pinterest and just type in a scavenger hunt, they'll have it, for different age groups or even adult scavenger hunts. And then obstacle courses are really, really fun. You can get as intense with those as you want to if you feel like putting a good amount of work into it, or you can do something really easy. So in the top right image, this is a scavenger hunt that a woman put on for her whole family. So her and her husband did it too. But that first image is just weaving around buckets. So they have like flower pot buckets or ice cream buckets, like just things you have laying around the house. And then the image just below that shows her daughter hopping over the flower pots. So it can be really easy. And something that could really help with an obstacle course is they have spray chalk. So it's like spray paint, but in chalk form. So you can like spray chalk on your grass, a different path, or different activities that you can do for an obstacle course. Of course, having bubbles and different bubble machines, going out and playing catch, or I threw in even doing a snowball fight, but don't be mad at me for bringing up snow because I know we're all over it at this point in the year. All right, and then the last one that I really wanted to share with you, you may or may not have heard about the Walk with Ease program that SDSU Extension helps coordinate for the state of South Dakota, but it is a 6-week walking program. So if you're really trying to do your best to get back into a walking routine or to amp up your walking routine, this could be a really good resource for you. It's a free opportunity. There's no charge. We mail you, excuse me, We mail you a participant book that has different educational topics on it. This program was developed by the Arthritis Foundation to help adults become more active. So while a lot of the health education topics that are discussed throughout the book do focus on arthritis, it really can be successful for anybody of any physical condition, whether you have arthritis or not. And I wanted to share a participant review that we received a few months ago. So this individual said, Walk with Ease provided the encouragement I needed to get moving, and that they would recommend the program to anyone in any condition. You set your own goals, and then they, as in the program, supply the encouragement and interest to help you meet the goals in a safe and healthy way. Excuse me. So the program focus areas, the program really focuses on stretching and the importance of stretching, having a warm up and cool down. Of course, there's walking involved, and then different educational topics. So we do have 2 Walk with These workshops that are coming up. One of them is a workshop that's specific for SDSU employees. We're doing a worksite session, but at the exact same time, we're also running one that's just open to absolutely anybody. If you're at work and you want to talk to individuals in your worksite about coming on board, you can definitely do that. Or if you're just a South Dakota resident that wants to be a part of the program, we welcome you to join that too. I have the link on this slide that you can see here. That link will show you both options for the Walk with Ease session. So this is all self-guided. You'll receive 2 emails per week that really highlight the key topics that are found in your book. And then additionally, we offer a 30-minute Zoom session that you can hop on, where a certified Walk with These leader will come on, really touch on the key health education components, and then just talk to you about, what are your walking goals? Have you been successful this week, or what barriers did you encounter this week? And it's been shown to be a really good accountability for individuals. And then it's really nice for participants to be able to hear, oh, I'm not the only one struggling with this, or perhaps someone shares something that you struggled with in the past, and then you're able to share with them, hey, this is how I got past that barrier. So it's been a really great program. So I just wanted to share that as we just got registration finalized. I know I'm getting close to 10 o'clock. I have 2 more slides. So we have 3 more sessions in this May self-care series. So these aren't posted up on the website. So I wanted to make sure to share them. So next Friday, we have our registered dietitian that will be taking us through the best lunchbox ever. And she'll be talking about make ahead lunch ideas, which who doesn't need any more lunch ideas? Then on the 21st, we're going to talk about warm weather wellness, how to relieve stress and increase relaxation. And then we're going to close out this series for this month with talking about living your best organized life. So that's feedback we've gotten from past participants of wanting to learn how to organize more things in their life. So we're going to be touching on that. All right, and then last, I have my contact information up there. I also did send out an email to everybody right before this started, so you have my email that way. And I'm ending right on 10 o'clock. I'm here for any questions or anything that you might have. Otherwise, you are free to hop off, and I hope you enjoyed the session.